What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and up next I have got a big stack of books that I just picked up. These are part of the Building a Comic Business Starting with $300 series of videos I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over each of these books, what I paid, what I think they're worth, all of that. But I'm also going to talk about grading them. So which ones I think are worth getting graded and which ones I'm going to keep raw that I'm not going to send off graded, why I make that decision, everything like that. So I've had some people asking for a video like that. I thought this would be a good opportunity for it. So let's check out these books. All right, so before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. So sorry, it's been about a week since my last video. I had to go up to Banff to pick up a new sweatshirt, do some snowboarding, that kind of thing. So I'm back ready to make some more videos. Now with these, this is part of that series of videos that I've been doing where I've started off buying a Bronze Age comic collection for a little over $300, and I've been selling through those, buying new books, selling those, and building that up, and trying to be as transparent as possible to show the process that I'm using to build this up like it is a comic business. So I'm kind of calling it the comic business for my channel. And so with this, I picked up, let's see, what is it? Six books here. And I'm going to go over each of those, like I said, what I paid, all that, what I think they're worth, but also talk about the grading of them and which ones I'm planning on sending off to get graded as well, and why I'm going to do that. And because we are talking about grading here, that brings us to the sponsor of this video, the comic book presser. If you've watched my CGC unboxings on this channel, almost all of those books were pressed and cleaned by the comic book presser before getting graded by CGC. He does incredible work on all kinds of books. I've had him press Golden Age books from 1940 all the way up to moderns from 2020, Silver Age magazines, and everything in between. He has very reasonable prices and is also a CGC certified dealer and will pass his savings on to you if you have him submit your books through him. If you're looking to get some books pressed and clean, make sure to check him out on Instagram and through his website. His contact information is in the details of this video. All right, so we are back. Now let's get into these books. So like I said, there were six books here that I picked up. These range from the Silver Age to the Golden Age. And the total that I paid for these was $743. The dealer that I picked these up from was having a 50% off sale. And so I went through kind of a number of the books that they had for sale and decided to pick some out that I felt were some pretty good deals and ones that I felt were good opportunities for this Building a Comic Book Business channel. So let's start with the first one. I've had this book a number of times. I really like this book. It's a great key. This is Flash number 139. So this is the first appearance of the Reverse Flash, also Professor Zoom, whatever you want to call him. And this is just a great Silver Age key. This one has a pretty good amount of value regardless of the condition. So this one was sold as a 2.5. I actually think it's a 2.5 to a 3. I think it might be a little bit nicer even than the advertised grade. You can see here, it's got the subscription crease up the middle. That's that crease up the middle. A little bit of staining, some bends and creases and all that. But it is attached at both staples, attached at the centerfold. You can see the back. There's a little pen and things on the back. I mean, it's not a super high grade book by any stretch, but this is a solid key issue, and it's always in demand. It's one of the issues from the Flash run that people are always looking for. It's a cool cover in general. And so this one, I paid $132.50 for it. I think that the value for this book in a raw state is about $250, graded state $275. And so to me, this one is not worth spending the money to get graded, because to get this one graded would cost about $75 if I include pressing and everything like that. And so adding those together, I get up to over $200, and then that leaves me a really small margin. But this one, I've sold a number of these books raw. I know what types of books tend to sell raw a little easier than others, and this is one of them. And so to me, this one is worth just keeping raw, and so I think value around $250, paid $132.50. So this one, I'm not sending off to get graded. But the next one, definitely M. So this next book here, this is Meet Coreless Archer #2. And so this one was sold as a 5.5. I think it's a 5 to a 5.5. It's actually a really solid presenting copy. At first, I thought maybe it was higher, but there's actually, the top staple is detached at the front cover, which you can still have some pretty respectable grades with that. About the highest grade you can get with a single detached staple is a 6.5. But yeah, I mean, look at this one. This one, it's glossy. I'm definitely getting this one graded. I mean, this is a really nice presenting copy. If you get closer, you can see where the flaws are. A lot of the flaws are really just on the spine. The back, there's a few little, there's some stains, one right there. But overall, it needs a light cleaning. I might just send it and request for it to be cleaned and not pressed because it's already presents so well. And I'm worried about any additional detachment at that top staple. So that's what I'm considering with this one. But this is an Al Feldstein cover, and he's known for a lot of these good girl art type covers. He did I've shown a number of books from his runs in these Fox feature syndicates that he did the covers for. But this is one of them, and this is actually a pretty uncommon book. There are only 11 graded on census, and so this one I got for $146.50. This was a total steal. I think this book graded is a $450 book. And so I'm definitely going to be sending this one off to get graded. Like I said, I'm going to send it to get pressed and cleaned first, but I might just have it cleaned. I might say, just do some dry cleaning on it to get it looking as nice as possible. Don't bother with the pressing because it's already really kind of a nice looking copy. I'll let the presser, the comic book presser, make the decision on that. But overall, really solid presenting copy of this one. So this one paid $146.50, will cost about $75 for pressing and grading and all of that, and value at $450. So there's a lot of margin there. That's one of the things I'm really looking at when I'm deciding to get a book graded or not, is the margin that I have between what I paid and what I think the book's value is worth. There's also, like with this Flash, there are some books that sell really easily raw, that where if the price isn't too high or it's just a really in-demand key, I don't need to worry as much about getting it graded. But with something like this one, where it's a relatively rare book and it's from the Golden Age, people are going to want to make sure that it doesn't have any restoration or anything like that. They're going to want to be more confident on the grade. This is the type of book that I'm going to want to get graded. And so I have a lot of margin there. I think the value is about $450. It could even go a little higher than that. There have been some higher sales for it. It does not sell very often because there aren't a lot graded. But that's one of the things, like I said, I'm really thinking about is how much margin do I have? What's the rarity of the book? And do I think there's going to be more demand if it's graded versus ungraded? And this one I think is a good one, a good candidate for grading. All right, now the next one. This is a pretty cool book. I've actually never owned this book before. This is Strange Tales #101. This is actually the first superhero issue in this title. Prior to this, it was kind of like monsters and light horror, because this was after the Comics Code Authority, so it's not like the full horror stuff. But this is also considered the first solo story for the Human Torch. And so this one is, I feel like, a pretty underappreciated key in the whole, Marvel series of keys. This one, I just don't think gets quite as much attention as it probably deserves. But I have this one as a 3.0. The estimated grade was a 3.5. I don't quite think it can get there with the wear that's on it, but I think it's a 3.0. I paid $125 for this book. I think either raw or graded, it's about a $200 to a $225 book. I don't think there's really much value difference in this book, graded or raw. And so to me, I'm not going to get this one graded. It would eat all of the value that I have in it, the gained value, by getting it graded. And so this one I'm going to keep raw, sell this one raw, and I think about $200 to $225 is where I'll get with this one. So far that's one getting graded and two that I am not. Now the next one here. This is a pretty cool book. These are relatively tough to come by. This is Journey into Mystery #38. These kind of like mid-number Journey into Mysteries are just, they're not all that common. And this one's actually in pretty nice condition. It was sold as a 5.0. I think it is a 5.0. And I paid $112.51. This is a early Ditko art in Marvel. I think I can't remember for sure if this is his first work in this title, but like I said, this one is actually pretty nice. It definitely, I think, needs a press. Like you can see, it's got a lot of little indentations and things, but overall, a really solid presenting copy. There's a few little color breaking creases. There's some creases on the cover, but overall, I think this one will do pretty well. I think a 5.0 is a pretty reasonable grade. I don't believe there's any spine splitting or anything like that with this issue, but this one, like I said, it's got these indentations that you can really see. That's the type of stuff that'll improve with pressing. It's got some spine wear, but that's why, you know, it's not a 9.8. That's why I have it as a 5.0. But yeah, some spine wear, some edge wear, that kind of thing. But yeah, this one, definitely getting this one graded. At a 5.0, I estimate the value of this book at $350. And there are a few of these. One of the places I like to look on eBay, what's available there. And there are definitely a few of these graded and raw that are there, but the price point that they're being advertised at justifies that $350 ask, as well as prior sales. And so this one, I feel like I have a lot of margin there. When I paid $112.51, you know, it cost me $75 to get graded. I'm still into it under $200 and then sell it for $350. There's a lot of margin there, especially even if, say, it doesn't hit the grade I think it will, or that kind of thing. So, so yeah, Journey in Mystery, number 38, early Ditko work in possibly his first work in this title, but again, I can't remember for sure. But yeah, it's a cool one. And so I think that one's about $350. All right, now jumping into some Golden Age books. This is, I always like getting number ones. And so this is Archie's Pals and Gals number 1. This one was sold as a 5.0. I think it's probably a 4.5. And again, I'll show it out of the Mylar. It would be better, except it's like somebody maybe had tape at some point on the spine and you got some color lift. There's also this reader crease that's along the spine here. You can see that. That's very common because these really thick books, they weren't stapled, they were glued. So you have these, you get these creases here because that's where the glue went out to, and so you get these kind of like bends at that point. But overall, a pretty solid presenting copy. There are a couple of them on eBay right now, but they're really beat up. They're always missing big chunks out of the spine or have big tears on the spine. This one, you know, it looks pretty nice. I mean, there's no big pieces missing, no big splits. And this is a thick book. This is, because I had to count the pages, this is 116 pages. So there had to be 58 pages, including the covers. And like I said, overall, really solid presenting copy. I also think that this one might get white pages. This has really, really nice page quality on this book. So this one I think has a chance at white pages. It's like I said, a 4.5. And so yeah, there's a couple copies on eBay right now, but they're low grade. There's one that's like advertised at like a 4, but I think it's like a 2. So there are some low grade copies available, but this one is nicer. And this is the type of book that jumps up relatively quickly in price as you get to better grades because they just aren't as common. So this one I paid $117.50. I think the value is about $350. So I've got a lot of margin there again for the grading and pressing and everything, which I think will be about 75. So definitely one that I'm going to send in to get graded. I think this one will look really nice, graded. Oh yeah, and that was one other thing before I jump to the last book I wanted to show, because this Meet Coreless Archer is, I want to be careful with it because of that top staple, but something interesting with this one is that Fox Feature Syndicate was known for using pretty low quality materials. It's often why it's very difficult to find higher grade copies. And one of the unique things about this one is that this one used pink pages. So they use this low quality paper. It might be hard to make out on the screen, but it's actually a pink paper. I don't know if it'll really show up, but it's this like light pink hue to the pages. And so what you'll see is when the book gets graded, you won't have off-white to white or anything like that. You'll have pink. You might have cream to pink. They will sometimes have, like light tan to pink or something like that. They'll use those qualifiers, but you won't get the white qualifiers with these. You'll get pink page quality. And actually that Phantom Lady 17 that sold for $456,000, I think it was a 9.6, that was actually a Pink Pages book. And so Pink Pages don't necessarily detract from the value or anything. It's just something specifically unique with Fox Feature Syndicate that they used when they were doing those books. All right, so the last one here, this one is Archie number 20. I like buying these early Archies. The 1940s Archies are the ones that I like to buy. They tend to sit around for a little bit, but they always sell. There's always demand for them, so I like picking them up when I see them for a good price. This one was $109. Just $109. I can't turn that down. It was estimated at a 2.5. I think it probably can hit a 2.5. I think somewhere between a 2 and a 2.5. It actually presents really well, but there is some mouse chew up in the corner there. And there is also, I'll show you, there are some small little holes on the back where I think the mice also got it a little bit on the spine here. So you can see those little holes there, but it is fully attached. Centerfold's attached, cover is attached. You've got cover attached to both staples. It's still a relatively glossy book, presents well, other than it's got this mouse chew up in the corner. That's the big detractor from this one. And this book, I think that it will sell for about $200, whether it's graded or raw. So this is another one that I'm not sending this one in to get graded. I'm going to keep this one raw because I paid $109. If I send it in to get graded, then I'm into it $184, and then I've only got $16, and with fees, I'm basically losing money or breaking even at best. So this book, I'm going to leave this one raw and, valued about $200. So with these 6 books, the ones that I'm keeping raw are the Archie 20, the Strange Tales 101, and the Flash 139. Then the 3 that I'm going to get graded are the Journey into Mystery number 38, the Coreless Archer number 2, Meet Coreless Archer number 2, and the last one here is the Archie's Pals and Gals number 1. Now let's get into the numbers a little bit with these, because this is for that comic business. I wanted to make sure I talk about the numbers here, and like I said, I've tried to be as transparent with all of this as possible to help with anybody that's trying to do this as well. So I paid a total of $743. The total value, what I value these books at, is $1,800. So doing pretty good there already. Now we do have some additional costs that go into this. We've got about $225 in grading fees, so I'm estimating about $75 per book for those 3 books. And then most of these books I do end up selling on eBay, and so I do have selling fees with that as well. So my selling fees, I estimate about $200. So when we add that all together, when we look at all this, we've got total value of about $1,800 minus the $743 for the cost of the books, minus the $225 for pressing and grading, minus the $200 for fees, and we have a profit of $632. That's pretty good. That is off of a $743 purchase. Having a profit of $632 is an 85% profit after fees and everything. To me, for buying and selling comics, that's really solid. That's a lot of room on the book, and so I felt like these were all good purchases for that, the Building a Comic Business series of videos. So I hope you found this was useful. If you did, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. I've got more videos over here. If you'd like to watch some of my other videos, the subscription button is right here. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video.